Welcome to Off the Shelf. I'm Davina. Today we're going to read from the Golden Treasury of Myths and Legends. I've had this book for pretty much as long as I can remember. And it's basically just Greek mythology, stuff like that. Big fun. Today we're going to read Prometheus Steals Fire from Heaven. No, we're not. I already read Prometheus Steals Fire from Heaven. I read that out of Bullfinch's Mythology. Let's move on to the next one. A Miracle on Mount Parnassus. Man's first years on earth were very happy ones. They were a golden age in which truth and right prevailed. Then came the Silver Age, and after it, the Age of Brass, each worse than the one before. But worse still was the Iron Age that followed. So wicked had man grown by this time that the whole earth was drenched in blood. Brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, no longer trusted one another. Sons wished their fathers dead, that they might inherit their wealth. The guest was not safe in the house of a friend, and the gods were entirely neglected. At last Zeus could endure it no longer, and calling the gods in council, he thus addressed them. "Immortals! No longer does the sweet smell of roasted flesh rise from the sacrifices to the nostrils of the gods. Mankind does not honor the deathless ones. The altars are strewn with cold ashes. The temples are empty. I will destroy this infamous race of men. I will people the earth anew with a race more worthy of life, with beings who will know what is due the gods." The Thunderer spoke his will and rose. He was about to unleash his lightnings and scorch the earth when he remembered that from so great a blaze the sky itself might catch fire. "I will drown mankind instead," he decided. Chaining up the winds that scatter the clouds, he sent the south wind alone to cloak the sky with inky blackness. The thunder rolled. Rain screamed in torrents from the heavens. Poseidon, meantime, caused the earth to quake and mountainous waves to overwhelm the shore. He then called upon the rivers. "Loose your currents! Sweep away houses! Uproot orchards! Burst the dams!" The rivers obeyed. Swollen with rain, they overflowed. And now the fields were drowned and the harvests ruined. Trees were torn up by the roots. Flocks, herds, houses, barns, everything was swept into the swirling flood. The land had turned to a raging sea. Wild beasts grown tame shared the heights with man, and still the floods rose and overwhelmed them all. Mount Parnassus alone topped the waves, and there an old man and his aged wife had taken refuge. He was Prometheus's son, Deucalion, an upright man. His wife was Pandora's daughter, Pyrrha, a pious woman who had always honored the gods. Warned by Prometheus of the coming flood, the couple had reached the mountain in a sturdy boat. The sight of the two people, last of all mankind, touched the heart of angry Zeus. His rage was stilled at last. "These two have lived blameless lives," he thought, "and they shall not be destroyed. It is enough." He unchained the winds in order that they might sweep away the clouds, while Poseidon, his brother, smoothed the waves with his trident. The overflowing rivers returned to their channels, and heaven and earth beheld each other again. Peace, stillness, light after darkness, the terrible price of wickedness paid. "Oh, wife," Deucalion plied, clasping his helpless hands as he looked about at the slime-covered earth, all littered with the bodies of the dead. "Would that my father had taught me his art. Would that we too could make men out of clay. But since we cannot, let us turn to the gods and ask them what remains for us to do." A ruined altar of the goddess of justice stood a little distance away. Hand in hand they made their way to it and fell on their knees before the fireless hearth. "Tell us, O goddess," they cried, "what must we do?" Immediately a voice answered them. "Go from my altar, veil your heads, loose your garments from your limbs, and cast behind you the bones of your mother." Deucalion and Pyrrha heard the awful words in astonishment. For a time they were too terrified to speak, and then Pyrrha said, Forgive us, great goddess, if we shudder and do not obey you. We dare not profane the bones of our parents." They left the altar and entered the shade of the woods to think over the words of the oracle, and at last, all at once a light struck Deucalion. "Wife," he cried, "the command is one we must obey, for is not the earth mother of all? The stones are her bones. We may cast them behind us. This is what the oracle means, I think. Anyway, it will do no harm to try." So they veiled their faces and unbound their garments. They picked up stones and threw them over their shoulders. And wonder of wonders, the stones grew and took rude shape, like blocks of marble as yet unfinished by the hands of the sculptor. The stones that Pyrrha threw became women. The stones that Deucalion threw became men. And a hardy race took over the earth, a race well fitted for toil and labor, even as we are today.